Hey guys, this is Austin from Athilates.com, and I'm at LASG, Los Angeles School of Gymnastics, with Ryan Kahanu.
Kahanu.
Kahanu. I'm going to get that right. So we're here doing, our Thursday night little clinic that we like to do. And recently, there was an article put out on the internet about how to learn the back tuck in 20 minutes. And it kind of got under my skin a little bit because the back tuck is something that I've worked on for years to try to perfect and master. And Ryan here is, how long have you probably been doing gymnastics?
I've been doing it for 23 years.
23 years, wow. So now Ryan, you're now a physical therapist at?
I'm a physical therapist. I work in Arcadia, California. It's 14 days physical therapy.
So I really wanted to get his take on this because the article kind of talks about how the deadlift can be used as an exercise to help train the strength behind a back tuck, or back flip as he called the article. And I kind of have some disagreements on some scientific levels and some fundamental levels about how to do the back tuck. So I wanted to ask Ryan, first off, what is your opinion on the deadlift as a means to enhance the back tuck?
So from what I know with the deadlift, first of all, it's weighted. So anything in gymnastics is your own body weight. So training should be very sports specific. If you train with weight, you train your muscles in a different way from how we use them in gymnastics. So the form in terms of the deadlift is, I think the only thing you can take out of the deadlift is the hinge at the hips.
So kind of like this kind of thing.
Yeah, so that's the thing that when I watch a deadlift, that's the only thing I would take away to translating into a back tuck. I've asked a few people on how they teach deadlifts, and the biggest thing that I heard from them is that they train their athletes to put weight into their heels versus their toes. In gymnastics, we want to push to the toes so that we can get our pointed toes and get as high as we can. And also in the deadlift, it trains you to keep your at the bottom of the deadlift, your arms or your hands are by your knees or by your shins, versus in gymnastics for the back tuck, your arms are in back when you start a back tuck.
That's a big point, and the one you bring up with the heels is big for me because I do a lot of weightlifting as well, and my big problem with my back tuck is that setup where I want to push through my heels, which cuts off my jump. And talking about the starting position for a deadlift versus a back tuck, when a deadlift, I'm much more over the bar, my armpits are directly over the bar. With a back tuck, you don't necessarily want to be this low, do you?
Yeah, you don't really want to be very low at all. It's basically this is the position that I try to get into. My chest is fairly up. Shoulders should be over your knees, over your toes. So in the deadlift, they start really low. So that you shouldn't be going that low for a back tuck, which I do see a lot of when people start training a back tuck.
So then, how would you assess, and I know you have a few exercises when it comes to somebody that's now ready to try a back tuck. So what are your progressions and what's your order of exercises that you like to see?
So if someone wants to learn a back tuck, I want to make sure that they have enough leg power and strength. They need to have hip flexor and core strength, core stability, and they need to be able to know where their body is when they're upside down or rotating backwards. So those are the things I look for when teaching a back tuck.
Now we're gonna have some separate videos that show each one of his exercises. So let's kind of just talk about them real briefly. So what's your first exercise that you like to have people do?
So the first exercise, I stack up mats until the mat is about hip height, because that will allow the gymnast to train getting height in their back tuck. So it's basically a straight jump, slightly back, landing onto
so the mat's behind them.
Behind them, hip height.
And then, so after they have that one down, what's the next one?
And the next one is have them on the ground doing a hollow rock. So hollow rock is basically
a globally like hollow position.
Yeah, global hollow position, and they should be able to rock back and forth without changing that shape.
Okay.
And then
so those two, and then after that, we're talking.
And I have them do leg lifts. So for the leg lifts, you want to have hip flexion and lumbar flexion as well, because that's gonna get your body over using your abdominals primarily.
So now the lumbar flexion thing is an interesting point, because everyone, when you're talking about deadlifts, that's like a no-no in weightlifting is lumbar flexion. But when it comes to weightless back flip training or back tuck training, you're saying that's okay.
Right. There is no compression force in the lumbar spine when you're doing a back tuck. because there's no weight, and by the time you're flexing your spine, you're actually horizontal pretty much in the flip. So there's minimal compression, I would say, on the lumbar spine.
Okay, so then after that, it's the back roll?
Backward roll.
Okay.
So that is to ensure that the gymnast or the athlete understands moving backwards.
Very nice. And then finally, it's the candlestick?
The candlestick and also the handstand.
That's right, the handstand.
I make sure that to learn a backflip or anything in gymnastics, pretty much the handstand is the basic skill. So with any skill, actually, you should have a stable handstand.
And again, the handstand too is something interesting because we're talking still that hollow position, right? You don't want someone that's just up there trying to arch off their back.
Yeah.
That you see that doesn't really know how to control everything. So it these positions are transferable.
Yeah.
And then finally, I guess the candlestick is also transferable, same kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Candlestick. So a candlestick just teaches you hollow body upside down and keeping a tight body when you're going over.
Okay, so we're going to put all that together and show you our demonstrations. Ryan, if people want to contact you, how do they get a hold of you?
My email is rkahanu, RKAHANU @fortinates.com. I'm sure you'll put a link in there.
I'll get it.
You'll write it down. And
you can get it done.
yeah, that's my physical therapist at Fortinates Physical Therapy and Arcadia Health.
All right, guys, there you have it. That's Ryan, the gymnastics super coach, coming at you from LASG in Culver City with Austin from Athilates. We will talk to you later.